This is Ricky Burns, and you're watching Sport and Icons.
Okay, so there are many talking points, topics surrounding Chris Eubank Jr. and Conor Benn. One of them, of course, is going to be, what does a future hold for Conor Benn going forward? Now, I've been a big Conor Benn fan for quite some time. I've been a huge Chris Eubank Jr. fan for quite some time. When it came to that particular fight, I had no horse in the race. I really didn't. But now there's been this cloud. Of course, now the fight's been pulled and there's all kinds of contradictions going on, again, from Eddie Hearn when he speaks about other fighters, where he's saying things like, it doesn't matter if you passed UCAD. What's the point in enrolling in VADA if he's going to ignore the test and things like that? Well, he's not holding the same energy when it comes to Conor Benn. That's the truth of it. It is. And while I do understand somewhat where Eddie Hearn is coming from, he's reacting through emotion rather than his mind. That's what he's doing. It is business and everything, but of course he's trying to make Nigel Benn happy, I suppose. He's trying to recreate the moments that his father had, Barry Hearn, with their fathers, Chris Eubank Sr. and Nigel Benn, all that kind of thing. Conor Benn is, however, the next superstar from Matchroom. That's how Eddie Hearn has been billing him for quite some time. He's must-see, he's going to be the next pay-per-view superstar and all that kind of thing. And Conor Benn was there. He was there. Yes, of course, he missed out all the levels. He missed out the English title, the British title, the Commonwealth, the European and all that kind of stuff. He skipped all of it. But his profile was there. A win over Chris Eubank Jr. or even a very good showing against Chris Eubank Jr. could have put him onto that next level. And I'm pretty sure that the plan for Eddie Hearn was Conor Benn, arguably the face of DAZN pay-per-view when it comes to here in the UK. I think that was the plan. Of course, with DAZN, this was their UK soil pay-per-view. Their debut, if you like. Oh, listen, I know that they've done the KSI thing, and I know that they've done the Triple G Canelo one, but that's nothing compared to what this was going to do for boxing fans. Of course, there's like a lot of nostalgia around this fight as well because of the fathers and whatever else. All of that now has gone to the wayside. When Eddie Hearn and Callis Howland were doing their little press, if you like, that lasted about 2 minutes, where they didn't even do interviews, or at least Eddie Hearn didn't even do an interview with all the press that have been waiting around all day. For me, I thought that was pretty bad. I understand he doesn't want to answer any kind of questions, okay? Because he knows. He royally messed up. His integrity is questioned now. It is. But for Conor Benn, unfortunately for him, we're in an era where even if somehow the B sample comes back clear, therefore he's clean, there's going to be a whole chunk of people who will be throwing this at his face for the rest of his career, or certainly for the next few years. Eddie Hearn paid him off and all that kind of thing. These are the kind of things that people will say. Now, you can say how he passed UCAD, but he failed VADA, and it really doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what testing agency you used. You can't take a test. Well, I don't like that result, so therefore I'm just going to disregard it. Okay? Now, as far as the PED is concerned, this woman's fertility drug, whatever, infertility drug, I'm no PED expert. I've made that perfectly clear. I find the whole thing tedious. I mean, quite exactly what the PED is called. I've seen it 100 times, but I'm not even going to try and say it. But the point is, what I'm hearing from a lot of you, from so-called experts as well, around online, experts on Twitter, is that this isn't the kind of PED that you could accidentally find in your protein shake. You could accidentally eat it from something that you bought from the shops or over the counter somewhere. This is something that you have to intentionally take. Questions will be asked about his doctor. The Dr. Usman, is it? Now again, I'm not accusing him. In the previous video, where of course I was speaking about him, I never once accused him of doing anything, but questions do have to be asked. His speciality is testosterone, correct? What is it that Conor Benn failed for? When you're 26 years old, why do you need anything to do with testosterone? You shouldn't need it. It does something to your testicles to bring up the testosterone levels after a steroid cycle. I mean, when you're 26 years old, you're 26, right? When you're that young, you shouldn't need anything. You shouldn't need it. You're in the prime of your life. Why do you need that? These are the questions. Now, by the looks of it, he's going to have to take his lickings. He's going to have to, ideally, own up. Be honest about it. He can put out a statement saying, I'm gutted and I'm a clean athlete and everything. And as I said, right now, we don't know for sure, so let's just wait for the final results. But if it turns out, then I'd like to see him admit it. I would. Is he going to? No, probably not. Who does, right? But he's going to have to take his lickings. He's going to have to take the ban. I know people say throw the book at him, ban him for life and everything. Well, it's a little too late for that, isn't it? A little too late for that. This is the kind of thing that they should have done way back when. You can't just make Conor Benn the first example of it. Or maybe can they? I don't know. And who would ban him, by the way? VADA via the WBC. Okay. Of course, he's ranked in the top 15 of the WBC welterweight. So, of course, he's part of the WBC clean boxing program, right? They could remove him from the rankings. Certainly. They can refuse to sanction any WBC bouts with him involved for the foreseeable future, however long. They can do that. The British Box Board of Control, are they going to ban him considering he passed VADA? He passed UCAD. The anti-doping agency that the British Box Board of Control use. The one that they recognise. They don't recognise VADA. Yet the British Box Board of Control, we don't need to talk about the fact that they knew about this ages ago and only decided to act once it was made public, thus giving the impression that they were quite happy for the fight to go ahead, as long as the public didn't know, face the consequences afterwards, right? But because they haven't banned him, because he hasn't done anything as far as the British Box Board of Control is concerned. So who exactly is going to ban him? But if he is banned somehow, I said I don't know who's going to ban him. What, a 2-year ban? It's a first strike, it's a first violation, if you like. Something definitely needs to be done with the punishment to really, really put people off from taking them. Because at the minute, handing out, what was it that Canelo got? 6 months? Well, Canelo only fights twice a year. So do many fighters at the top end. So it wasn't really a punishment. So you should have something quite generic, a 5-year ban. That makes people go, yeah, I don't need to be out the ring for 5 years. I really need to be watching what it is I'm eating, drinking, whatever, ingesting. But I think that Conor Benn, he'll probably get a 2-year ban from someone somewhere. And in that time, obviously, he's going to have to try and figure out how this particular thing got into his system and going forward, what nutritionist that you use and all that kind of thing. At the same time, he's going to really have to build up his profile again. Because as I said, it was there for him. It was there. And taking PEDs doesn't necessarily mean that you're a bad person. I don't think Conor Benn is a bad person. People think that they can get away with things. I'm crushing it in the gym. Are you now? Have you been? Why is that then? Because you feel like you're bouncing off the walls. He comes across as angry. People say roid rage and all that kind of thing. I said, I'm not condemning him because I don't know the truth to any of it. But going forward, he's going to have to take his shellacking for it. He's going to have to. Is his career over? No, I don't think somebody's career should be over for a first strike. People will question, well, how long have you been doing it and what other things have you been doing and how long you've been getting away with it, and so therefore it shouldn't really be seen as a first strike. Again, I understand all that, but until the testing agencies start doing it more regularly, it's a first strike, isn't it? He's passed VADA before. UCAD, he's passed all the way through. So first strike, probably a 2-year ban. That's it. Of course, that's going to really hurt the brand of DAZN, Matchroom and everything. Because that's it. He was meant to be their next poster boy. So as far as the rescheduling with the Chris Eubank Jr. fight, that's looking very, very unlikely. Very unlikely. Unless, of course, they just go, well, you know what, we don't care about VADA anymore. Screw you. We're going to go through the British Box Border Control. They haven't suspended him. We can just get the fight done. But again, then it all has to come down to integrity, doesn't it? So anyway, that's my thoughts. You drop me yours. Click thumbs up, subscribe, and I'll catch you in the next video.